Hi, I'm Doug McKinlay for Adorama TV. Now this is the first of 3 episodes based on a commission I've just received from a London magazine. The story is about Valletta, the capital city of Malta, the small island nation in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. Now this year, 2018, Valletta, along with Leeuwarden in the Netherlands, are the European capitals of culture. Now the editor's been quite loose with the whole commission. She just wants me to go there, get a great feel for the city and get some really great pictures and maybe some copy too. But before I get on the plane, I've got a lot of planning to do. And part of that is this whole video structure. Now what we're trying to do here is to show the viewers what it's like for a working professional to get his job done. So as you can see, I've got some camera gear in front of me here. And in terms of the story, that's probably the easiest part, really. The more difficult part is to really get an understanding of what you're up against. And I shouldn't be flying blind here. So communication with your editor is really important. When discussing what aspects of this piece we want to try and achieve, I need her input as much as she needs my input from the research I've done. She'll have some must-haves, gotta-gets, and that's fine. That's part of any story. But I also need flexibility. Now, a good photographer in the field uses that flexibility to get those pictures that you can't plan for. And fortunately, with this editor, she's really good that way. But it still means we need to communicate, whether that's whilst I'm here still in London or in the field. So just sort of to get back a little bit to the research. Now, I've always found the internet's a great source of research. You know, a couple of hours on there and you can generally get a good idea where you're going. So that's what I've done here. I've got a pretty good idea about what I'm going to see on Malta. Now, the other positive I've got on this gig is I've been there before, so that really helps. So I kind of know the lay of the land already, and that's going to take some of the stress off a little bit. Now, the other thing to think about when I'm doing these gigs is I have to think about the logistics. Now that's everything from airplane tickets to hotels to cars to buses if you have to, boats if you need to. So that whole sort of idea of how you get the job done, all those necessary things to get you along on your way. Now some jobs are it's all taken care of for you. You just turn up, take your pictures and go home. Now on the surface that sounds pretty easy, and actually sometimes it is, but I also find a lot of those jobs quite prescribed. Oftentimes you've got someone looking over your shoulder, making sure you get the right images for a certain angle on the story, and I find that's a little bit annoying. I prefer the jobs where I take care of everything myself, and that's what I've done here. So I've taken care of the hotel and the airfares and all that kind of thing. Now, if I'm out of pocket on anything, I just add it to my invoice at the end of the job. Now, the elephant in the room for any job, photographically, is the weather. It can't be controlled and it can't really be predicted. So it's one of those things you have to sort of guess about. And I think after a while you do get reasonably good at it. Lots of research again on the internet and such. But I have been sent on jobs where it makes no sense weather-wise, like, you know, skiing in the Rocky Mountains in July. Yeah, sure, it can be done, but you know, you're not going to pull off some pictures that's going to make it look like it's the middle of December. And that's an issue that happens a lot between editors who don't really understand us. But it's one thing that you have to keep in mind about all the time. So you have to kind of anticipate for bad weather. So even though you might look at a weather forecast for a given area, and it might say it's going to be, you know, reasonably warm and no rain and sunny, you still have to bring a few bits and pieces with you just in case, like a good raincoat. It's really important. I know earlier I said that your equipment is the easiest part of the job, and perhaps that's true. But it's still worth having a look at what I'm going to bring with me. Now, it's nothing super special, really. A couple of camera bodies, some EOS 5D3s, some lenses. I've got a 70-200 zoom, 300 f4 fixed, a few prime lenses. There's a 50mm 1.4, a 24 1.4, short zoom, a 17-35, and somewhere around here I've got another Canon 24-70. I think that's about it. Speed light, a few bits and bobs like leaf filters, for instance, the NDs and the grads to add to the mix. I think it's a personal choice how much gear you bring. I just sometimes bring too much. Sometimes I bring a lot more than this, which can hurt because it's heavy. So you have to make a judgment call. Now, when I get to Malta, what I'll probably end up doing is leaving a lot of this in the hotel, and I've got a smaller bag that goes on my waist that I can bring with me, which is great for in crowd scenes. So I just usually bring one body with me and two lenses, a 50mm and perhaps a 24, and that's about it really, because it's all I really need in those situations. And on this job, I've got a car to try and help me get the job done quicker and easier, and that's going to help too with my equipment. I don't have to worry so much about packing everything on my shoulders, which is getting harder and harder every year because it's getting heavier and heavier. So that's really about it. On the gear front, I just think you have to think about what you need for the job you're doing. The other thing I like to look at, I suppose it comes under the category of research, is I like to look at the back catalog of the magazines that I'm working for. So I want to look at previous issues to get a sense of how they use their layout, how their designers put a page together, how the ad space works. Are they huge, basically? Do the ads take away from my images? So I like to look through the back issues. I think it's pretty important. You get a sense of how the magazine works, how they use DPSs, for instance, big double-page spreads, what kind of images that fill that hole. So I think it's a good thing to do because it gives you a bit of a mental map of how the magazine might indeed use your pictures for your story. So all that's left to do now is to get on that plane, get out to Malta, and get the job done, and hopefully not mess it up. Too bad anyhow. So thanks for watching. I'm Doug McKinlay for Adorama TV. Don't forget you can join Adorama TV and tell us what you think. You can like, comment, or share this video, and do stop by the Adorama Learning Center for more great tips and tricks.